Hi, it's Ricky of Moshville Times here once again. Now, tonight I'm delighted to be joined by new UK-Irish death metal band Death Collector. By the way, I just have to say that's an absolutely fascinating name for a band. Love it. And tonight we are lucky enough to have the guitarist Mick. So how have things been with you, Mick? Have you been lucky enough to escape all this COVID nonsense?
All good here now, Ricky. I caught the plague there over Christmas, all right.
Yeah.
So the whole house was sick with it then for a better part of a month. Like, so we were kind of locked down here for, I'd say, the better part of 3 to 4 weeks, I'd say.
So did it drain all the energy from you?
I was sick for about 2 or 3 days, I'd say. Temperature, headaches, aches and pains, the usual symptoms. Like,
yeah,
sense of taste was gone a bit weird as well. Like, so
yeah.
yeah,
You're back to normal now.
that's it. Yeah, it came and it went as quick as it came. Do you know?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
good. But listen, we're not here to talk about COVID. We're here to talk about Death Collector then. So next month you're releasing your debut EP, Time's Up. So you must be chomping at the bit to get the EP out there then. So how have the reviews been for it so far?
I haven't seen any reviews yet, Ricky. We haven't gotten any back yet, but anyone that's heard it has been very, like, they're excited about it. All
Yeah.
positive things I've heard about it as well. A lot of people were saying, like, yeah, I love this. This is totally up my street.
Yeah.
So quite happy with, like, what people think of it so far anyway. So once the whole thing drops and everyone gets to hear all the tracks, can't wait to hear people's opinions then. Like,
Well, with your permission, I've got a radio show on a Thursday night, which you can see in the background. With your permission, I can start playing it on the radio as well. I would say there's like 2 or 3 DJs that are like into the extreme side of things. So on Moshville Radio, it can get regular airplay there. There's also like 2 or 3 colleagues at Moshville Times who are very interested in the EP, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be 2 or 3 of us that will review the EP as well. So it's not going to get neglected here. But could the EP have been actually released sooner than what it actually was? But due to the restrictions, there was delays here and there. Could this have been out at the tail end of last year, for example, or is this the right time?
I think this is the right time.
Okay.
Because kind of when you release things towards the end of the year, a lot of times it can get overlooked, you know, with like end of year lists and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, whereas kind of like, I know this is only an EP, but I'm hoping it'll get some momentum going and a bit of buzz going about it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so March is, I think, anyway, the right time to drop it anyway.
Cool.
Yeah. I think it's perfect time to drop it. Like, now, there was a few things that kind of held us back that we wouldn't have been able to release and say towards the tail end of last year, like Lee Cummings on bass, like he jumped on board there like in December, so I had to learn the tunes, then track his bass, and we were waiting then to get it mixed and mastered. So that was wrapped up pretty quickly though.
Yeah, you guys are releasing this independently, aren't you?
Yeah. So
has it been any kind of label interest, or are you just wanting to keep it independent and just work to your own time scales and take full control of it?
We just said we'd throw it out there, see what kind of interest then comes back from it, and then work from there. Yeah. No harm in doing it ourselves anyway, first of all. Like, no, keep it DIY, put it out there, word of mouth. No, the old school kind of way of doing things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully there will be, well, I know for a fact there'll certainly be a lot of interest. So let's hope fingers crossed at least to something. But for those that are new to the band then, how would you say Time's Up EP lies in terms of influences and sound? And do you think that you've found the sound that you've been looking for with your debut EP?
That's a good question, actually. So we didn't deliberately set out to write in a certain style.
Yeah.
Like the songwriting process, the way it would work, like, is like I'd write riffs, I'd put them to a click, and I'd send them on to Andy. He'd send me back drum beats, then, and we'd kind of take them from there and maybe extend this bit, or whatever. So didn't consciously write with a particular style in mind, just a couple of riffs that kind of roll together.
Yeah.
I got Andy's input on it, then it's kind of going, yeah, that's sounding cool. So we're able to kind of work from there then. So it was done very organically, considering like that we live in different countries. I haven't jammed in a room with the man at all, like, you know, but we're sending files back and forth, and it's working.
You know, maybe it's like, a case like you don't want to meet them. You just, that's far enough. Just send me your music. I don't want to see you.
Well, see, it's not like that, but like kind of the times that we live in, especially after coming out of like the pandemic and all that, like a lot of things were done remotely. Like you could see like a lot of artists, musicians that kind of became content creators now with podcasts and trying to keep their thing afloat, like while there's no shows happening or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it started out with I got a message from Andy asking did I want to do a few covers, and we filmed and throw them up on YouTube. Like,
yeah.
So we did the Bowl Thrower one there. Yeah, it's about 12 months now at this stage anyway. Yeah, okay. It was the Bowl Thrower one. It was like, War Master was out it was like the 30-year anniversary of War Master. So we did the Shreds of Sanity, and we had Gord Olsen from Darkened. He's in Darkened with Andy.
Yep.
He was on bass and vocals, and obviously myself and Andy, and just trying to think. Oh yeah, there was Steve Fox from Ashen Crown on guitar as well for that. Okay. So that was a bit of fun anyway. So there's a bit more correspondence than going back and forth with Andy, like going, do you want to do another cover or whatever? So we decided on a battery track then, like, kind of similar kind of influences anyway. So we got Steve Maher then from Abaddon Incarnate. They're drawing bank here from Ireland, So we got Steve on board to do vocals for that. And we got Hempa from Darkened also on bass for that. And we had Josh Walton then, who used to be in Agalloch.
Yes.
Him in then, he was doing the keys bit. And so then we said we do another cover then, which was the Entombed one, which was the Wolverine Blues cover, kind of just after LG had passed away. So say kind of do it like kind of like a tribute to him. And we had Dave Ingram then from Benediction doing vocals from that. Yeah.
How many projects is that man in?
I know, yeah. So it's good to be busy though. Like I'm in 4 bands, so I kept busy myself, like, So it's a good thing to do, like, but like when it came to writing then, the stuff kind of like I came up with a couple of riffs and sent them to Andy, and they started flowing pretty well. And then after that, I kind of got an idea of the style then of the songs, like, try and get a bit of like D beat, kind of punk and hardcore in there, mixed with like the old death metal as well. Well, so I think it's gone over pretty well anyway. Like we've a couple of more tunes written, like we're working on stuff for a new release anyway. So there's like you can see the direction that is, well, I can see the direction it's going in musically anyway, and it seems to work anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm quite happy with it. Like,
it must be like a privilege as well to work with somebody like Andy Fail. I'm not ashamed to admit, like when I was a teenager, I would go into my garage and get my dad's garden canes, chop them in half, and then I would do cenotaph, or I would play Wild Eater, with the garden canes, But as soon as you hear a song, you just know it's Andy Whale. But how did you go about recruiting Kieran as well? I know Kieran from Ashen Crown, spoke to him a couple of times. He's a decent lad.
Yeah. So, Andy's got a very distinct style.
Yeah.
Like there's fills that he'll do that are his signature style, all the double bass then as well. So when I heard that coming back on the riffs, then I'd written, I was going like, that's fucking pretty cool. Like, like a lot of my friends are massive Bowl Thrower fans, and they're like, this is mental, So I'm dead chuffed not to be doing this. Like, but when it came to picking the rest of the members of the band, and that was all Andy. So Andy got in touch with Kieran, he got in touch with Lee. We had Jason on board beforehand, before Lee joined. We had Jason on bass, but with the logistics of him living in Portland, Oregon, the time differences as well, like, so it kind of it didn't work out. Like Jason's a cool guy and everything, like, so it's just the time difference as well, and the different time zones. And eventually then, if it does come to gigging and whatever, like, it'd be kind of hard for him to get over to do shows. So you have to kind of look at the logistics of it as well. So Andy then got Lee then in on bass. So I was just sitting back writing riffs basically.
Cool. Can I just say, I've been honoured enough to be able to listen to the EP, and apart from Death Collector, Internal Expansion, I would say that's my favourite. You can hear the old school British death metal. There's the Benedictions, the Bolt Throwers, the Memoriams, which you'd expect for obvious reasons. But what I like about I like old school death metal where you're relying on the riff and the groove rather than having to play the guitar at 1,000 miles an hour and blast beats.
Exactly, yeah. It's all about hooks as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, it's all like, got to work on each song as a separate song. It has to have its own twists and turns in there to keep it interesting. It has to be catchy. It has to be something that the listener wants to go back and listen to as well.
Yeah.
I find with a lot of, like, I'm not slating or knocking bands or anything like that, but I find like with a lot of the modern death metal, it's a race to the finish line.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to a CD, like after about 5 or 6 tunes into it, like you fucking ear fatigue and everything, like, you know?
Yeah.
So it can get a bit, no, years ago I would have loved that, like, but as I'm getting older, I'm kind of going back in my old ways, like, you know? Yeah.
So you said that you've been in numerous bands yourself then, with Death Collector, and with everything that's happened over the last 18 months and stuff, has it made you look at the more business side of this band? Like, are you guys now having to take on roles to keep the name out there of Death Collector, or like you've maybe not have had to do with your other bands because you're on labels or something like that and they do all that for you? Is this taking you back to the old days?
Yeah, well, I'm still in the old days, like, some of the so, yeah, so it makes no difference to me, like, but like you have to start ground up, you know, like, so you have to put in the legwork at the start. If you have a label behind you doing all this for you, it's fucking great, like, you know, it takes all that side of it away from you then as well, like, like my band Zealot Cult, we brought out an EP and an album through Blood Harvest Records in Sweden. So they would have looked after all the sorting out reviews, interviews, all the promotion, duplication, everything. The only thing that we look after on our side of things would be we look after our own merch. Yeah. When we're going live, yeah, that's what we'd have 100% total control over our merch. That's it. Nobody else prints it. Like, so we kind of keep that DIY in that sense of things. Like, and the other band then that I play in is a doom band called Brigantia. So we brought out an EP last year called Midnight.
Okay.
So self-released as well. Like, so we're working on stuff for another release as well. But having a label behind you helps a lot, like, in regards to all those things. But it's fun as well doing the DIY route, you know, getting stuck in doing things yourself as well, because there's the buzz about it.
Yeah.
You kind of go, oh, couple of people know are after buying this off of Bandcamp and whatever, like, and like, see, this has been shared around, so the kind of excitement is there, like, you know.
So what about the merch for Death Collector then? What are you thinking of doing, and what kind of formats are you thinking of doing the EP? Are you going to do, see, talking about old school again, there's obviously vinyl and things like that, but there's a lot of bands that are going back to cassettes. Are you going to do a limited run of that as well?
Yeah, I'm in talks with a guy already about doing a cassette run of the Time's Up EP on cassette. Yeah, so to work out the ins and outs of that. So up in the Bandcamp at the moment, like, we have a pre-order running. So there's a bundle for like £20. There's like a beanie, t-shirt, and a copy of the CD. And then you can buy them separately then as well. So that's what we have merch-wise at the moment, beanies and shirts. CDs then are kind of done. They'll be like in, I believe, like a slipcase kind of card kind of thing, but they're done to look like a vinyl.
Yeah.
So that's close. We get to vinyl for a while with the backlogs and waiting lists and things like that.
Now, I'm just going to go back a wee bit. You actually,
what's that?
What was that? Sorry.
I said, unless somebody wants to release the vinyl for us and do all the legwork there, like.
You heard it here first. But just going back a wee bit, you said that you've already got a couple of other songs then. So would you say there's a difference in the sound you have progressed? Are you adding certain things in? Are you taking things out? Or is it going along a similar vein to Time's Up?
It's going in a similar vein, but it wouldn't be much different, you know? So like it's kind of it's in the vein of the 3 songs that'll be on this EP, but there's a couple of songs like kind of trying to work out a few things guitar wise, you know, just do something a bit more interesting, mix it up a bit, like, you know.
Yeah. I'm just worried about Kieran bringing in his Motley Crue influences, you know, because I know he'll be dying to bring it in.
He'll have to compete with my Wasp influences anyway.
You're doing a 40th anniversary tour, actually. I think it's coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up this year. Yeah, I can't wait for that. Yeah,
that's excellent.
Chris was there last year when he came to Ireland all right, like, and he was doing a Wasp set, like, that was good. Yeah, really enjoyed
I actually
that.
seen Black Lawless in the flesh, and it was actually, I love the Headless Children. Brilliant album. But anyway, so again, you've kind of touched on that, like how the song is constructed within the band. What I'm thinking of though is like with the band members having their own personal taste in music, how do you negotiate what stays in and what goes out of a song? Like, do you write all the guitarist, for example?
Yeah,
because I know he's the guitarist in
Severe Laceration.
Aye.
Yeah. So since Lee came on board, now he's contributing towards the newer material. All right, like,
okay,
so it's good to have like input there, like from another person, like, kind of, it takes the pressure off a bit as well.
to the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, so kind of like for the EP and a couple of songs that we've written already, like, I wrote all the riffs for it, like, so when I'm tracking it, like, I'm tracking multiple sets of guitars and then I have to work out harmony bits and work out solos then, because when this goes, like, when we're gigging with this, like, we will have a second guitarist live.
Yeah,
we'll need it, like, because there's stuff going on in there. It requires two guitars, otherwise the arse will just fall out of it. It was just bass and one guitar.
Yeah.
See,
I worry about that live, when you just have one guitar and then they play a solo or something like that, and it's just so empty. It empties the room. You definitely need the two. But what was I going to say? But is Lee the type of guy, though, since he's a guitarist as well, is he now sending you riffs at 4 o'clock in the morning, saying this is the best riff I've ever written, by the way?
Yeah. About 11 o'clock in the morning, I'd say. Not 4 in the morning. Yeah, he's sending on riffs, all right. Like, so yeah, it's good. Like, yeah, it's good to have extra contributions in the band as well. Like,
good. It sounds, to be honest with you, I was quite disappointed with your answer there, because I was hoping that there was going to be like fisticuffs and blood in the studio and stuff like that. But
nothing like that. No, the main thing about it is it has, as long as it's fun and the songs are good, that's it. Like, that's.
Yeah. So with Kieran being the vocalist then, did you leave him to do all the lyrics for the times up then? Right.
So all the lyrics, all the vocal patterns are all left to Kieran.
Right.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, it's a talent in itself, because it's something that I wouldn't be able to do. And again, it must be a wee bit of pressure off you, not having to worry about what I should word to you or whatever like that.
Yeah, well, see, I'm not a vocalist. I was never a vocalist. It's always guitar that I played. So when I'm writing riffs, I kind of think I might have to double up this bit here if there's going to be vocals going on it. That's kind of the way my brain would be figuring stuff out as I go along. So Kieran is free reign over whatever he wants, like,
Yeah.
But there'll be certain sections where I'll be like, okay, there's going to be solo going on this bit, there'll be something on here. So you work around everything else then, like.
So. Did he pretty much nail it straight away, or was there a wee bit to and fro, and then you got the final result that you wanted?
Well, the drums and the guitars were finished, like full songs, and then we just passed them on to the lads and they did their thing then. So Kieran was working away, figuring out vocal patterns, coming up with lyrics, different vocal approaches here and there, coming back with demos. What you think of this, lads? So.
Yeah.
And Lee then just nailed all the bass parts then as well. So yeah, very happy with it. Like,
cool. That's excellent. Thanks. So I was just wondering about the visual side of the EP then. Have you thought about doing like a video to coincide with the EP release, even if it's a lyric video, or is there a chance of that?
There will be something dropping during the week. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to ruin the surprise. Yeah, there'll be something dropping during the week on Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, it will certainly be spread, like I said, over here at Moshville. So
that's great.
Certainly do a bit. I try and keep the extreme metal in Moshville times, because they play everything from indie rock and extreme metal. So I try and keep the extreme end, the better end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then, have you guys got big plans for gigs in order to promote the EP, like a UK and Ireland tour, or do you think it might just be one or two festivals here and there? Or?
We haven't really discussed anything about the live front yet. Like, obviously we do want to do gigs, but it'll have to be something manageable, So like a couple of gigs around the UK, a couple of gigs around Ireland, no problems with that. If there's festival gigs, like festival slots, 100% up for that.
Yeah.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Like once the offers come in, we'll have to start looking at things realistically then and what the logistics are involved with it. Do you know? Yeah. Well, so it's exciting. Like, do you know, I'd love to do gigs with this.
Yeah.
I'd love to take it on the road and just see how it goes down. Do you know how people react to it?
So. And saying that though, from what you're saying, you'll maybe have like half a dozen songs, so it's not as if you can do a headline set, but if you get a good support somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Like you've got like a half an hour set or 40-minute slot or something like that, like on a festival or something, that'd be perfect, be ideal.
Yeah.
You know, we would have enough material to cover something like that. No, obviously we're continuously writing and working on ideas anyway.
Yeah.
So so just see how it goes, see how the songs progress, how they come along, how they come together, how quickly they come together, as well as a big thing about it. Like,
cool.
So yeah,
I think with what's happening around the world, with Bloodstock, for example, with only pretty much UK bands been playing, and it was still a sellout. I think what it was showing was that there was still a very, very strong UK metal scene. So I think now's the right time kind of to go out there and promote your stuff. Like in Glasgow, for example, where I'm from, they can sometimes be picky as to the punters, like who they're going to go out and see. But the gigs that I've been at since all these restrictions and uplifting them and stuff like that, they've been very, very well attended in Edinburgh and Aberdeen as well. So I would highly recommend a couple of dates around Scotland if you ever get the opportunity.
Oh, that'd be really cool. Yeah, I'd love to go to Scotland. All right, play a few gigs up there.
You ever been over with Zealot Cult?
Never, no. We did like Bristol, and we've done Manchester and London, and we did Bloodstock. That was it. That's most we've done in the UK with Zealot Cult. Yeah. We haven't been to Europe yet. We had plans on going, and COVID kind of killed that. You know, like so, like 2019, we went to America. We did a couple of gigs there in the East Coast. So we did.
So who was that with then? Who did you go over with?
They were our own gigs.
Wow.
Yeah, so a promoter from the St. Vitus Bar. We got to give him a shout out here, Zach.
Yeah.
Zach Moyle, yeah. So he got in touch with me on Messenger, like saying that he had the Zealot album, he loved it, and asking how do we get you over, like for a few gigs. I was like, okay, time to talk. So we went over. We did the St. Vitus Bar. We did the Atlas Brew Works in Washington, D.C., and we did a gig in New Jersey as well. So we only did 3 shows over there. We were gone for like 5 days, but some experience. Like,
yeah.
You know, so we're trying to get back over there again at some stage this year with Zealot anyway.
Yeah. Well-attended gigs?
Gigs were well attended over there as well. They went down really well. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. That makes the whole trip worthwhile. The heartache of like 10-hour flights or whatever.
I think it was like a 6-hour flight from Shannon to JFK or something like that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I don't remember too much of the flight because I'm not good with heights and planes and stuff like that. So I had a lot of Xanax and beers and.
I'm beginning to see a pattern going on with you here.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Listen, I've only got a couple of questions left. I thank you very much for the time that you've spent with me so far. But I maybe show my age a wee bit here, but before the internet, then magazines and fanzines were the places to find out about new bands and trends. But now publications have been replaced with thousands of websites catering for all genres. So, do you think that some of the passion has been lost, or do you think that the internet's been a good thing for music and a good thing, or potentially a good thing for Death Collector?
I don't think the passion is gone. No, the passion is still there.
Okay,
100% passion is still there. It's just with the internet and with the way stuff is shared and like promoted on social media, like there'll be a buzz about it for a couple of days and then something new will come out and take over from that. Do you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the nature of the beast. Especially like with digital platforms and you know, like say years ago, right before the internet, like you'd get a demo on the post or something like that, or a friend of yours would buy an album and you'd fucking copy it onto a cassette tape, you'd listen, play the shit out of it, like pick up magazines, you read through it to find out about bands. You'd nearly be looking at the t-shirts that the band members are wearing on the back of these albums, like, you know?
Yeah.
And going, oh, let's check out this band. Like, so with the internet, that's kind of taken that mystique out of it, like, you know? Because you discover a band that nobody would be really familiar with, and you're like, oh, they're my fucking band. You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the internet is like it's there, it's instant. You know, if you want to check out something, you just Google it and you have access to a full album on Bandcamp, or you can watch shows on YouTube or full albums up on YouTube to listen to as well. Like, so
Yeah.
that's great in that regard as well. But best way to kind of support the bands really would be like through buying their merch. You know, because with you see the debates with Spotify, like in royalties that artists are getting paid, they're getting paid pittance, if even that. Like, you know, it's more a promotional tool for most bands at this stage. Like, it's a necessary evil. Like, you wouldn't be depending on money from it. You kind of be depending like to shift merch at gigs, and or if you have copies of your album at the gig, you shift them that way, like, and you're cutting out the middleman, you know?
Yeah.
COVID kind of fucked that then as well, like, because you couldn't play gigs.
Yep.
So so Bandcamp Friday, every band is out there pushing their Bandcamp page. So but yeah, the internet it's a good thing, like, because in regards to networking side of it, like, you get talking to promoters, get talking to other bands, you know, like, and sort out gigs back and forth, and that's how it takes off then from that side, like, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the good thing about it. Like, it's very instant, very direct.
Yeah. The good thing as well, like, when it's released, in fact, you might even be able to tell just now, like on your Bandcamp, for example, you'll be able to look at the analytics and you'll find out that you've got fans over in Taiwan, Indonesia, and Mexico, and all that stuff. You wouldn't have been able to do that 30 years ago. Like,
no. And that's the thing. Like, you can see the demographic. Like, you can see the countries that are kind of, you know, downloading it or buying it and whatever. And you're kind of like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, there you go with Zealot Cult. I mean, you got a following in America, which you wouldn't have dreamed of, you know.
Yeah, that's it. Like, so yeah, very grateful for that. Like, and that was all through the internet as well. Like, you know, like, so, yeah.
The downside of it, though, I think, is like Bandcamp, for example. If you listen to like 10 seconds and you do, that's shit, move on to the next band. Next band. Sometimes it could be too dismissive. But I also like the physical product as well. Like, brought up in an age where CDs should be burned. It's all cassettes and vinyl, you know, but now CDs are dying out, and vinyl's outselling them again. So, but
that's it. Like, yeah, I'm the same. Like, still have loads of vinyl there from back in the day, cassettes as well, and CDs. Like, so yeah, I keep on to everything anyway. Like, you never know, there could be a boom now in CDs years down the line. Like, and all these box sets and digipacks could be worth a fortune.
That's it. Something tells me you still got Betamax video cassettes as well. But, this is just my last question for you then, but we could probably have another 40-minute Zoom on this. What was the guitar that you used for the recording then? What's your setup? What pedals did you use? What amps and pickups and stuff like that? What did you use?
Okay, for the Debt Collector EP, is it?
Yes.
I kept it very simple, right? I used a 7-string solar guitar. So I tracked all the rhythms with that, solos with it as well. And so I had to take the eyes when I was recording, because when Gord was mixing and mastering it, he wanted to reamp the guitars.
Okay.
So I just used software for tracking it. No, I went back over everything a couple of times, make sure I had good takes, and made sure that there wasn't anything clipping or anything like that, that everything that I sent him was usable and workable. So it was Gord that dialed in that tone that's on the EP.
Okay.
So I'm really happy with that. Like, and that was something, like, it's very close to what I would have went for anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I could record here using my Mesa Boogie, like, but I don't think my neighbor next door would be too happy with it. Like, you know?
You're getting an Asbo.
You hear him start drilling holes in the wall, he'll randomly start doing DIY and stuff like that. Like, yeah.
So why a 7-string then and not just a 6? And what do you tune it to?
Okay, so 7-string, I've been using 7 strings since about 2009.
Okay.
Used them all the time with Zealot. So, and we've a lot of songs, we're tuned down half a step, so it's A sharp, like standard, the whole way from the 7-string down to the 1st. So it's down half a step. If you were to play it on a 6-string guitar, it'd be like Slayer tuning, and be half a step down from E to E. Right. So we can still do the trashier, faster stuff after 6 strings, and it still sounds a bit darker. And then you have the low B, then if you want to just like slow things down a bit or whatever, give it a bit of atmosphere.
I thought you were just showing off with that extra string, because with death metal you probably just use the 2 strings anyway.
No.
I made the mistake of asking.
I'd play bass otherwise if that was the case. Like, no, the bass players or anything. I'm only having a crack here. Like, well, yeah, no, all the strings get used. Yeah.
I made the mistake of asking Theo, just is it a 6 or 7 string, and he just went, no, it's a 2 string. So that's where that came from. A
lot of all the old stuff was just like the low E and A string, like it was all just power chords up and down the neck. Anyway, it works like just fucking. There's only 12 notes in the scale anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
As long as you can get from 0 to the 12th fret, you're flying it, like,
Yeah. So who done the cover art for you?
A very good friend of ours called Kieran Scott.
I knew it was going to be him.
So, yeah,
I think you've won a watch here with this guy because he's social media savvy. He's got his graphic design and he's a great vocalist as well. So you've won a watch with him.
Oh yeah, I'm very happy with it. Like the guy is well clued in as well. So yeah, great guy to have on board and to have as part of the band as well. Like he's very creative. He's very driven as well. Like, which is what I like.
He just wants to play live, which is the same as yourself. You just want to go out there and play.
Yeah.
Cool.
And he gets totally excited about stuff as well, which is great. Like, yeah, you can see, we'd be chatting on Messenger, all right, like, but like the enthusiasm is there, like,
yeah. And that must give you a buzz. That must make you smile seeing that energy.
It does, of course, absolutely. Like, yeah, like I've never met the guy in person.
You're lucky.
Yeah.
You're lucky. No, he's a good guy. But so who done it? Did you guys just do all the mastering, the production of the sound and everything yourselves, or did you hold on?
So it was mixed and mastered by Gard Olsen from Darkened. So yeah, he handled all the mixing, all the mastering, he reamped it as well. Like, so yeah.
You must be chuffed with the sound of it as well.
Yeah, I think it sounds deadly. I think like the way it was put together and everything, I was like, oh wow, this sounds great. Like, considering we're all remote and we're just sending stuff back and forth.
Yeah.
And it's got like a kind of a liveliness to it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's trying to keep that energy in there, like, keep the excitement in there and the hooks as well.
Yeah.
So I think Gard captured everything, like with the mix that he did on it. Like, I think it sounds great. I tried it in the fucking car, tried it in the TV, laptops, everything. Like, and it sounds good and everything. Yeah.
Good stuff. Listen, Mick, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I know it's certainly not going to be the last time, especially if Kieran's got anything to do with it. We talk regularly, so I'll be able to keep up to date, and maybe one day I'll get like a band interview, maybe even face to face. Who the hell knows? If you're coming over, then if you're coming to Glasgow, I can give you a few names of promoters and stuff like that. So to get in touch with.
Yeah, that would be great, Ricky. Yeah. Listen, thanks a million for having me on as well.
Yes, no worries at all. Absolute pleasure. See you later, mate.
Listen, take care. Mind yourself.
Yeah, you too.